of all the different things going on within your entire sales team or sales organization. So quick question for all. Is everybody hearing the audio just fine? I've just got a comment from someone saying that it's a bit choppy. Does anybody else hear kind of in and out choppy? All right, give me all 1 second if you don't mind. I'm gonna go ahead and switch connection.
It'll be just another 15 seconds or so. Luis is changing his network connection here, everybody.
All right, and we're back, everybody. I appreciate your patience there. I know that technical issues happen every now and then, so hopefully, and no more issues moving forward. So as I was saying, just to give you all a quick lay of the land of some of the bigger changes around the newest version of Map My Customers is that now there are multiple layers and sort of different structures as far as how you all can access and really be able to see your data. All right. So as we go through, look through this design, starting from the top, you see we have a section here for our dashboard, our accounts, our contacts, and our deals. So I'll cover this part first, accounts, contacts, and deals. Many of you coming from the legacy Map My Customers are used to just having one pin on the map. And some of the challenges and feedback we always got from you all was what happens in scenarios where there are some parent and child accounts? What if there is multiple points of contact in the same company, the same organization? Do I need to have multiple pins in that location? Does my data need to be re-uploaded every single time we had a new contact or a new pin? And back then the answer was yes. But now with the new system on Map My Customers, you have the concept of separately broken down accounts, contacts, and deals to properly organize the data and be able to upload and keep records of data up to date at a very high level, being the account level, which is typically the most important. But if you ever need to make updates or changes and deal with multiple contacts at a particular account location, you can also do so. And there's separate maps altogether. So I'll show you all what that looks like. Same thing with the deals. Deals, we're now talking about a much more enhanced sales pipeline by which you can track multiple deals across various sales funnels with customized stages and fields too. So I think that's something that everybody, being in sales, no matter how simple or complex the sales, having that core structure will help keep your information very organized and really enable you all to perform that much better out in the field. Moving next over to activities. This is also a newer concept in Map My Customers. We've taken the concept of check-ins and reminders and created this brand new concept that many of you familiar in the CRM world is called activities. Activities is a way to really be able to define different types of sales calls, follow-ups, reminders, etc., and then plan them and really kind of title them as you need, but you can plan them for the future or complete them in that moment in time. And then we'll go over that as well as traditional reporting in the system. So you continue further on this page. On the left-hand side, we have our team manage page. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the team hierarchy to show you all how that's broken down. For many of you sales administrators or just different people in charge of your sales teams, this is really important because within this section is where you actually go ahead and see some of the more commonly or popularly known Map My Customers functionalities around managing your field team. You have at the very top, the person in charge of the entire team. And within that, we have to Map My Customers, what we consider a sub-team or one of the regions that you can have. So the nice advantage of Map My Customers with the Apollo version is that you can have multiple regions under the same account. And then you can have one overarching manager or multiple managers across multiple regions. So in a similar structure to this, you might have the VP of sales be the demo at mapmycustomers.me. And then regional managers can have their own subset segments of multiple Map My Customers teams. So you could have the East Coast team. And then below that, you could have a separate section called the West Coast, Pacific, et cetera. And this is essentially a really easy way to break down your team and really reflect it based on your sales hierarchy. And then assign roles based on team owner, team managers, and team members. So that way people get access to the data that they need, nothing more. But now we're actually enabling managers to have much more visibility and insight as to what their sales teams in their respective regions are doing, what they have access to, etc. Now going back a little bit here onto the dashboard, very straightforward. You can see a quick at a glance of how many accounts you have loaded onto your map, what activities have been completed. This is actually really helpful to understand what is your sales team doing currently or what have they done in the past week. I can see here that in the past week, we have 3 actual in-person visits, 1 phone call, 1 email, and a different type of meeting. This could be great. It might not be enough. So you can go ahead and switch the time frame to get a quick pulse of how your sales team is performing out in the field. Scrolling down further, we have the upcoming activities section, which really more so covers what you have coming up in the future as far as the activities. And you can always toggle that back and forth between list and the calendar view. And as we scroll further, we have the charts, really straightforward around accounts, contacts, deals, even activities. And location would show you your location either of your current team or yourself. Here it's mapping me out in our office down in Raleigh, North Carolina. And one of the biggest advantages, again, going back to Map My Customers and what this new version means, is that it means that sales managers have a lot more visibility and insight. So you can even go as far as viewing each account or each section by different members of the team. Now you have a drop down. Now say that I want to see this team and I break it down. I want to see Zika, aka the Batman at Gmail. I want to see this team member's structure and setup. Now what I did is I filtered it by Zika, and I have now a less number of accounts. So this is just Zika's territories. I can see what he's completed, upcoming activities, etc. So this filtering option, viewing by user, is really, really helpful to understand what does this person have access to, what do they see on their map, what can they do, etc. So now moving over to the accounts, we're going to jump directly into the account map view and get into some of the actual core pieces of Map My Customers. The map is very straightforward. We have a map layering all of your different accounts on here. You can click through, and this will be very similar to many of you using Map My Customers already. You can see the actual account profile, information here with the address, the option to call. There's a phone number available, route to the turn-by-turn navigation, and you can always click into it and see your account information. So when I click in and pull up an account, this is what you see. You can see the information as far as the name of the account, all of the standard fields of information right here. And now here we have a brand new concept that we have parent account, which matches directly with what we have here below child accounts. So many of you may be, national sales managers or national sales reps, where in certain scenarios you might have, for example, Coca-Cola, right? Coca-Cola has different branches and offices across the entire country, but there's typically, one, let's say headquarters or one parent account. So you would define that parent account in this section. You can do that when you import or sync your data. And then any subsidiary other offices of Coca-Cola, you would have them listed in the child account section. So again, we're letting you be, giving you much more structure around your information with the different types of accounts you're dealing with, and really breaking things down further to actually know how everything ties together. The groups has a nice search feature right here where you can actually identify and find all of the groups. Some of you may have hundreds of groups or just tens of groups. You can easily find just what you're looking for. All right, and let's scroll down further. And one of the things that I want to show you all within the account profile, as you see it here, one of the biggest and newest advantages is that we have different types of custom fields. So we have drop downs where you can choose one or the other, and you can define whatever these drop downs are. Phone fields, date fields, if you want to schedule things out, or here we have date of renewal, monetary fields, and different types of fields within that, my customers. And the idea is that whenever you're working out in the field, or even if you're a manager in charge of multiple reps, you really do want that data consistency to then be able to actually evaluate and understand at a high level what are the patterns that we see in our customer base or our prospect base. What competitors are people going to? Competitors could be a drop down that you have each type of competitor that your sales team can then choose. This client or this prospect also uses this competitor, and then you can try to run campaigns against specific competitors or just be aware of what information is there. So that's where the different types of drop down options are really great. And when I click on the add new field right here, you can see all of those options. We have the traditional text field. You can have a large paragraph text box, a numerical, monetary, drop-down options where you can choose multiple options, a single option drop-down, a phone number, date, time, and address. So you can implement these custom fields across the accounts, the contacts, and the deals. So the reason why that's important and that is relevant is that the account section will give you just the information that's important about that particular account, not necessarily the individuals involved with the account. If you want to go ahead and pull up information for the contacts, those individuals, you can scroll down here and see the contact section. We have a contact section for AJ, for Brian, and for Lou, as well as all of the different deals associated with this particular account. So we'll go over the deals in a second, but let's go ahead and jump in to see what are the different contacts and what information is within them. So now we're pulling up AJ Joseph. We have the standard fields of information right here. But now let's take a look at how we've actually customized some of the information here. We have here personality type. Personality type is something that's very specific to this individual contact. So we can actually choose, type A, type B, type C, type D. And you can keep track of different types of, personalities. More commonly used fields with the contacts that are not used with the accounts could be what role did this person play in the buying process? What is their actual title? Are they the VP of sales? Are they their manager? And were they influencers versus decision maker? Do you have any report building notes or anything really core to this contact that might help you in the future? You can create all these different types of fields and implement them here. So you can almost think of it like a form to gather more information about each contact so that you're better prepared as you're going out in the field. All right. So now that we've covered the accounts and the contacts, the next core part we'll cover will be the deals themselves. So as you see here, I'm clicking through accounts, contacts is highlighted here. And next, we're going to look at an actual deal. So this is essentially what it looks like when you pull up and create a deal. I'll show you all the funnel in a second. But when you actually pull up the deal itself, you have multiple options here. And this is going to be really important for any of you that are tracking new sales opportunities using Map My Customers. You know, whether or not you prospect all the time or only part of the time, this will be a really good way to centralize all the information you're gathering and prepare yourself and make sure you're aware of each stage of the pipeline that each deal is in. We have the name of the deal at the very top, the account and the contact associated, the funnel that this deal is in. So one of the nice parts of Map My Customers Apollo is that you can have multiple sales funnels. Say you sell different product lines, or you want to focus on a prospecting funnel versus an upselling or growth funnel. You can actually break this down in a way that's really tailored towards your business and make it unique to your selling process. You can have your different stages of the sales funnel right here. You can rate this particular deal, forecast out a closing date, which is really helpful because there's the option that you can filter by closing date to get an idea of like, hey, if I can look at my pipeline in the next 30 days, what do I actually expect to close? Those are the kind of questions you can answer with Map My Customers Apollo. And then the deal amount as well. So this is all the standard information about this deal. And now the custom field sections, we've actually customized this section to be very, very helpful. So now we have here the agenda. You know, whenever I go to meet the prospect about this deal, what is our agenda going to be about? What are the core things I want to keep on hitting on? Objections. What are the objections they're giving you? You know, why wouldn't you buy? Why wouldn't they buy? You're the best sales rep in the world. The anticipated objections, if you click on this drop down, you can see there are multiple options. Maybe this client may not buy because they're already working with a competitor that's cheaper than us. That could be a realistic scenario. So you can have these different types of customizations that are very insightful and very helpful. And one of the great parts is that, say, you know, you go ahead and close these deals and the things go well, you can go ahead and mark the deal as 1 right here. And it has a great animation where you can actually see the rocket ship as soon as you close each and every deal. And jumping into the actual sales funnel, you know, working through things at the individual level is really great because you can get down to those granular details that can be very helpful as you're preparing for each individual meeting. But say that now you want to take the approach that's more strategic. You want to get a high-level overview of where are things across your entire sales pipeline, at which stage should you be focusing most on, but more importantly, which region and with which accounts should you actually be interfacing with most. And that's where focusing on the actual deals funnel itself is going to be very, very helpful. So starting at the top right here, you have the option to view by user and view by funnel. Each of these have actual drop downs where you can go ahead and focus specifically on either a funnel of your choice or a member of your choice. So this is also a great coaching tool and accountability tool when it comes to managing a pipeline. At the top, you see the total amount of deals as far as sales dollars and the adjusted amount. So this adjusted amount we'll cover in a second, but this is a great way to taking some probability figures and then go ahead and estimate how much you actually expect to close versus what you actually have in the pipeline. And now we have here each stage of the pipeline: lead, pitch, qualified, all the way through to close won and close lost. You can click through each stage to see exactly what is in each stage of the pipeline. And you see the sales figures are always changing based on that. And you can go ahead and toggle onto the map view to see literally geographically where are each one of my deals. So you can see them all here, color-coded based on the stage of the pipeline they're in. The color here represents directly the colors above. And then what you can do is turn on the circle map that shows you geographically based on the circle and the size of the circle, where are my biggest deals, where do I have the most deals, and where should I actually be spending my time. So while we have a couple of massive deals here in San Diego and in Florida, majority of our deals tend to be in the New York area, and actually happens to be some of our biggest deals. So you can see that as I zoom in there. But that being said, just because the majority of our biggest deals are in the New York, Philly area, that doesn't mean I should ever skip out on San Diego or Florida. We still have some sizable deals in that area. So if I'm a salesperson and I find that I'm spending, majority of my time in New York, Philadelphia, and then maybe Texas, and here towards the bottom of Alabama, I might want to rethink my strategy, still take the approach of focusing in New York and Philadelphia, but maybe some of those days that I'm focusing in Texas, I might switch out and go to California instead, or Florida. So you can actually rethink your sales approach and sales strategy based on this. So this is one thing that I would definitely recommend people take advantage of and focus on whenever you get a chance to really look at My Customers Apollo and see what are some of the biggest differentiators and biggest advantages of the new system. And one more nice tool that I want to show you all is our filtering option. So the filter is great when we look at it right here, because you can go ahead and apply filters by groups, such as many of you are used to, and even by things like closing date. So say I want to see all of the deals that I expect to close after August 1st. I can run this kind of filters and see just all of those deals. So as you're working with your sales team, you can be like, hey team, let's get together and figure out what do you have in the pipeline from August to September? What do we expect to close? What do we actually expect to adjust the probability to? All right, and then one of the final parts of My Customers Apollo that I was mentioning before that's really important is the ability to add activities. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the My Customers deal, because you can assign activities to an account, a contact, or a deal. So let's say that I want to create a brand new activity because I'm having a call with this client or this prospect today. I'm going to add an activity right here. And now I can see I have multiple options. So starting at the very top, we have different activity types: emails, demos, visits, meetings, lunch, etc. So there are several types here, and you can really customize this to what you want. But the idea is that you can actually define different activity types and then keep track of what types of sales calls you are having on a daily, weekly basis. So say that I want to have a lunch meeting and I want to schedule it for 12:30 p.m. And this is everybody that's affiliated with this particular activity. There's the My Customers deal. My point of contact is AJ Joseph, and the account is My Customers, and I am the person creating this activity, or you can assign it to a different team member. I'll mark this as completed. If you don't mark it as completed, that'll mean it's an incomplete activity when it looks like this. So that's really helpful to actually plan for activities in the future. So you want to have a follow-up meeting, you can leave it as incomplete like this and change the time on the calendar and add a note. And then what I'll do is I'll go ahead and save it. And then when I scroll down, there's a section for activities that will show you your upcoming activities in this section right here. And then you can actually go ahead and click into the activities portion of the application at the top. And you can see an overview of all of the activities across your entire team. So you have the different types of activities that are grayed out, the different types, the title, which are sometimes the same. You can change the title versus the type of activities. And on the left-hand side, you have each type. So you can go ahead and filter your activity types. Say you want to see only the calls, or you want to see only the emails or the demos. How many demos is my sales team performing? You can answer those kinds of questions now with My Customers Apollo, and always filter it out by your different key members. And one of the nicer advantages, just to get an understanding of how your team is spending their time out on the field, is the fact that you can see it all in the calendar view. So we have here a set of reminders from the past couple of weeks, and then a calendar of the upcoming week. So say that I want to filter this out and see this for all of the activities. I want to analyze what my team member Zika, aka the Batman, has been doing in the past couple of weeks and what's coming up for this person. I can see that they had 2 visits last week and 1  email in this past week, and they have a couple of visits coming up as well. So I can look at this on a weekly basis, daily, or different varieties of versions of this. So yeah, activities is meant to give you all much more granularity as far as what you're doing out in the field, let you all get much more detail, but at the same time, you can take a step back, go on our web app and see an at-a-glance overview of what you or your team are doing out in the field.
Now, I think we're going to pause for a few seconds here, everybody. I know that we've gotten quite a few requests to actually come in and use some basics of the mobile application. So we'll pause for about 60 seconds while Luis gets a chance to set up on his mobile device and show you a little bit of the mobile application. We got a question from the audience from one Renee, suggesting that some of the features that you guys are seeing here today demonstrated on Apollo do exist in some CRM platforms. The reason being is to be able to sync better with your CRM and to be able to work faster in the field, you'll be able to take advantage of Apollo's automatic activity types, as well as map-based and CRM geo-based features to be able to sync closer and more tightly with CRM systems, right? So now we're going to switch to mobile display, right, and share some of these mobile features with you, such as auto activities and map filtering on mobile. This is the bulk of what you'll be using Apollo for when you're actually in the field, hitting the pavement and hitting the road. And all of those activities, of course, you want those to sync back to HubSpot, Salesforce, et cetera, to be able to actually sync tighter with these systems. These new features and these new object types, activities, contacts, accounts, deals, these were required to be built into Apollo.
All right, everybody. So this is Luis again. I'm back on here. So what you all should be seeing on your screen now is essentially the mobile version of Map My Customers. This is what's directly available in the mobile app store, on the Apple App Store, and also in your Google Play Store if you use the Android app. So what you can see right now definitely looks a lot different than the Map My Customers legacy application. But it's one of those things that certainly may take a little bit of time just to kind of pick up and figure out how do you want to use Map My Customers. You now have multiple options across accounts, contacts, and deals. So once you're actually able to figure out this is exactly if I want to use Map My Customers, most of you will more than likely stick within accounts and use just accounts on a day-to-day basis, and that's totally fine. That's what we have this breakdown. You have the option now to choose what is your approach going to be. and how do you want to structure your day and base it off of. So when you look at these different account options right here, we're on the map view. At the top, you can toggle across accounts, contacts, or deals. All right, so now going back to the accounts map view, it'll zoom you into where you are right now. You can see a quick proximity of just all the different accounts near you. So right now we're looking at a lot of data. So one of the things that's really important to be able to do within Map My Customers is actually customize and filter out some of the data that you may or may not need. So what we can do is click this funnel icon on the top right, add a filter, and now you have the option to actually filter by different options within that particular account. So let's say that I want to go ahead and filter by groups. I'm going to choose to filter by groups equals any or equals all of. So any of you using Map My Customers Legacy understands that equals any means show me groups accounts that are in either of these groups, versus equals all of means show me accounts that are in both of these groups at the same time, not just either of. So let's say I want to focus on just either or. Let's look at just the Atlantic region. And we'll apply this map filter. And now we have a much more targeted and focused area on Map My Customers. This is much more consumable now. You can actually go ahead and take action based on this filter. You can go ahead and zoom in and see all the different accounts on there. Click on each one, see Frederick County, pull up their information, and then actually scroll through the account profile to see name of the account, parent account. You can change the color through this as well, which would be really important. See the street address information, and then the custom fields all in this section right here. So say you want to change the industry and it's in healthcare. You'll do that right there, and then you save it in the top right. Now say that I want to go ahead and create an activity. I want to log a sales call with Frederick County. What you would do at that point is you take the concept of activities and now you apply it. So this is what it's like to really be out in the field using Map My Customers Apollo. We'll go ahead and add an activity. By default, I have it set up where all of my activities are calls, but you can change this default in the setting. So say I actually want to change this to be an in-person visit. Visit. This is a purchase order follow-up. All right, so we stop by and get the PO from finance. I've assigned it to myself here, MMC demo. We have the due date. Say this has actually happened earlier this morning. I would change the due date here to 9:30 a.m. Mark this as completed at the very top, so that way I can actually get credit. So everything that's completed, you essentially get credit for. Estimate how long you spent there. Let's say I spent 45 minutes. And if you want to, you can assign a contact and a deal, or just have the account associated. So I can now go ahead and save this. You know, we took a bit of time here explaining it to you all. You'll actually see that as you kind of pick it up, you know, get the habit, get in the hang of the system, adding the activities will be pretty quick. And I will save it. And now when you scroll to the bottom, you can actually see this activity, the visit PO follow-up. You can see that it's a visit. It was with Frederick County, and you can click on it and see the note about it. You can back out and go to your next stop. And you still have that filter toggled on. That's why you see that it has a one icon here to the right. Now, say that you want to quickly add a new account, add information into the system, like many of you do when you're out in the field and you're prospecting. All you would do is click the plus button on the top right, add an account, contact, or deal, or an activity. You can use find new accounts to search via our lead generation tool, or just add one if you know exactly where you're going. Let's say I want to add the Map My Customers Raleigh office. I'll add the phone number too. You see it's specifically a phone text. The website is mapmycustomers.me. And I already have a map my customers in the system, so I'm going to go ahead and find it. That's the parent company. So I'm going to find map my customers right there. And now we're essentially establishing a parent and child relationship. And I'll have it pinpoint my location to quickly just add where I am right now. Industry, just call us an auto company, and then we'll save it. So now you've gone through the process, you've created the account, and you can verify that because you can go to the Manage tab. This Manage icon will actually show you a list of your account, your contacts, and your deals. And you can see you have the MMC Raleigh office right there. And you can pull up, log your activities, scroll to the bottom, and see directly what contacts, groups, deals, etc. are associated with it. Say you want to go ahead and see all the contacts or add a contact from this account. You can add a contact and fill out any new contact profile information for this account. So it is meant to be pretty easy and straightforward to kind of navigate through and figure out exactly what you want to accomplish as you're going through the Map My Customers app. And now say you want to get a quick at a glance of what you have coming up in the day. What you would do is you would go to the Activities tab right here. This will show you any upcoming activities, or by default, it'll show you incomplete. So any activities you haven't actually completed, you'll see right here. So these are green because they're scheduled for the future, and the red ones are past due. If you want to complete them, you can click into them and mark it as complete and save it. Or you can simply just click on this checkbox right there. Now, say you want to get an overview of everything. You want to see all of the different activities you have set up. You'll go ahead and click where it says incomplete and show all of your activities. Now this will show you everything that's been scheduled out and everything that's scheduled, from before as well. So here's a lunch meeting from earlier and all these different users. So to the left, you have the person that created the activity and the person that was assigned to. And you can always go ahead and filter down further. Say you want to see, how many product drop-offs have we done? How many calls have we done, etc. All right, and now the next, and really the last part we'll go over will be the routing portion. A good mobile visualization tool like Map My Customers doesn't exist without a core routing feature. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and click through Add New Route and build a route for my accounts. Say I want to apply that same filter from before. You can go through the filtering process right there, or just zoom into your area and see exactly what you want to target. Let's say I want to add each of these pins to my route, or just lasso a bunch of them. The lasso icon's right there. And you can see exactly who you want to add. Click next. Or, sorry, one thing to add, you can go ahead and search for your accounts here. So let's say that I want to add each of my Map My Customers accounts that I had in the system. I'll click search. And I'll find Map My Customers right here. And then I also want to have the MMC Raleigh office. And I'll check it off. And click done. I'll click next now. I'll have this find my starting and my ending point by clicking this target icon. I'll name this route MMC route. I'll choose to keep this as an optimized to get there as quick as possible, and then also estimate how long it'll take at each stop. We'll go ahead and build this route. And just like that, we have a route that takes us all the way through to the pins that I chose, as well as to the last or one of the final stops being the Map My Customers New York office. So going back and forth, you can scroll down and see what each stop looks like all the way through to New York and back. You have the list of each one of these different stops, each account right here with the car icon that you can use to navigate. You can see how much time you're spending with each particular account. And if everything looks good, or say you want to change it, all you would do is simply click on each account and drag and drop it right there, and then build your route. You can see what it looks like reorganized, and then save it. And then when you save your route, you can see it directly on the list right here and see what the route looks like on the map. just like that. So just like that, with a few steps, I was able to set up my route. Now, say you want to go ahead and edit things. You know, things change out in the field. Your meetings might get canceled, or you know, some people might just not be available. So what you would do is you would go ahead and click on where it says Edit. All right, and then you can go ahead and show all pins right here. So now what you can start doing is go ahead and see within the path of your route, who else do you want to visit? Let's say I want to go ahead and add Virginia Ear, Nose, and Throat Associates. I have several options here in Fredericksburg, Virginia. So you can always go ahead and edit your route and see what's on your path within your route, and then build this route as well. So great, we just identified 2 more stops on the way back from New York. Say I want to add in some leads that I want to add to the system, some prospecting. I can go ahead and search for dentists, for example. You have some dentists. It's putting me in the middle of the map because this is a very big overview, so that's what it's searching. But essentially, wherever you are zoomed in, it'll search for those leads for that keyword in that area. So I can see different dentists right here. I'll go ahead and add Boston Coors. So these are prospects that I had not before called on or had in the system. And I can see where they are relative to where my path of my route is. So if I like these, I'm going to go ahead and add them to my route. Now I have a bit of a deviation on this route, and I'll save it. And just like that, I identified some existing clients that I wanted to route to and add to my route. And I also made the most out of my trip and found some prospects that are pretty hot in my industry that I want to target. All right, and then the last tab we have here is the settings. And then I guess the most important part here, a couple of key parts, is so you can go ahead and sync to your calendar. So it works with Google or Outlook. You can manage your activity types if you're the admin or owner. So here's where you can actually drag and drop and change the order of which activity type you want to be at the top or what you want to disable. So now this will be an option. Now you can go ahead and back out. You can turn on the feature to use auto visits or auto activities from here. And then change different options like, you know, what do you want your default routing app to be? Do you want it to be Google Maps versus Apple Maps? I prefer Apple Maps. Do you want your icon to be a circle or a pin? You know, this is where you can kind of modify all of the different setting options. And that's really everything that I wanted to show you all from the mobile application. Matt, is there anything you wanted me to cover on this?
I think that's a good overview, Luis. I know that we had some folks asking to just kind of see the basics of the mobile application, which I think we've covered. If anyone has any additional questions, definitely, we've been getting a number of those in the Q&A section. Feel free to send those along. But thank you everybody for joining us today. We just got a question from Danny. Importing, are we able to discuss any importing here?
So we have a couple of training videos, Danny, on importing. We can send those over to you. Importing is definitely a much just, you know, a bit of a different conversation because you have more options with importing. Now you can import accounts, contacts, and deals all separately. So we have that broken down in the video. So Danny, if you can go ahead and send us over your email address, I'll make sure to send that out to you directly.
And I'll find an email video here to stick into the group chat as well, so that everybody has access to it.
And I believe we just had a very quick question, just looking at some of the Q&A from Todd Vander Weyden. Hope I'm saying that right. Please don't take it personally if I'm not. But he had a very good question around how do you differentiate between a customer and a prospect to see the equipment owners clearly. So generally speaking, prospect and customers, well, they map my customers. You can break them down either having them separately, as Matt mentioned, by assigning different colors or contacts. But definitely one of the biggest advantages of Map My Customers for any of you that are kind of using the legacy Map My Customer system, and please check out our support portal. Let me show you all how to access our support portal. Actually, this is very important. We do have some very helpful videos on there. To access the support portal, click on the pin icon on the top right, and then click on support. And you can navigate through different options of support that we have available. But whenever you want to segment out any data within Map My Customers, and really kind of filter and clarify exactly what you're dealing with, please go ahead and use our grouping feature. So if I search for groups, we have groups and filters, or using groups and filters. So this is a great tutorial and a great way to get started and kind of figure out what are the different advantages of my customers when it comes to grouping. And with grouping, you can create a group just for prospects or a group just for existing customers.
And I've gone ahead and sent out some information on importing as well to the group chat as well. And this will actually detail information about how to import contacts, deals, accounts. We have videos for each and every single one of those on Apollo. So that should be very helpful to everybody in the crowd. I know we just got a question from Edward Wolford. Is there a plan to allow mapping of contacts and accounts in the same route? Currently, that is not a feature that we offer. We have, however, just announced the account-based routing, which Luis is walking through a little bit of today. So you can do either or. You can choose to route to contacts or accounts. Our suggestion and recommendation for the most part when we do train field teams is to pick one or the other to make sure that your data hygiene and customer life cycles are clearly split. And so if we do end up offering this feature in the future, we will of course be the first to let you know, Edward.
And just to be clear, just to kind of explain the logic of not having accounts and contacts on the same map anymore, it's we do want to try to drive through that kind of structure of having a specific section for your accounts and a specific section for your contacts. We're running our own tests with other clients. We've seen them to be very successful. So if you have contacts, maybe you might have contacts that are spread across the entire country, but for one specific account. So at that point, maybe contact-based routing, Edward, might be more beneficial for you. So you can go ahead and build routes for contacts instead of accounts. So when you go to the routing option, you can choose contacts versus accounts, and you can work through it that way you prefer.
Okay, well, I think the questions have slowed to a stop here. I know we're approaching the top of the hour. I want to thank everybody again for joining the webinar. We will email out a recording of this presentation so everyone has it to look back upon, as well as additional training materials. I know we've had a couple of suggestions to send out as much information as possible for training. We will make sure to do that for you, Priscilla, as well as anyone else that has attended this webinar. So thank you, everybody, again, and we look forward to hearing how you like the use of Apollo.
All right, everybody, thank you for your time, and you all will get a recording, as Matt said, and happy hunting. Have a good day, everybody.